Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I wanted to talk about a new teaser that we actually got for The Walking Dead, Dead City Season 2. It's actually a part of the same teaser that we got the other day, but there's a few shots that I totally missed here, and it's actually, the one shot that I missed was actually the most important shot of the entire trailer, or teaser trailer, because it actually shows Negan and Bruegel together, which is absolutely just incredible to see, and it really does kind of show you, I think, where the story is going to be going here, at least for season 2. So I want to talk about this and also talk about something that Jeffrey Dean Morgan said recently in an interview. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'll be doing my Q&A video very soon. So if you do want to take part in the Q&A, then definitely go and join the Discord. There's a bunch of other videos that I do want to do, actually. I want to do a review of Nosferatu and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm trying to put that together right now to see how I can film my review and whatnot, because I do want to film and review like on camera and everything and talk about Nosferatu, a movie that I watched last weekend actually, and I really enjoyed. And so I want to talk about, what I liked about it. And I really want to do that a lot more often, like every single week. I don't know if it's going to be every Sunday or something like that, but just do a movie review on something. It could be on the latest movies coming out or something like that, but I do really want to do that because I think that that would just be a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed watching Nosferatu. I thought it was a really incredible movie. So yeah, but let's actually get into this here. So we do see that Negan and Bruegel are together here in this one shot, and this is the first time that we actually see both characters together, because there's only been a couple of shots of Bruegel and it's been basically him by himself. There's been other characters around, but I don't think there's been any like main characters or anything like that. So this is the first time we're actually seeing the character, with other main characters from the show. And so we have the Croat there, obviously on his right, or I guess it would be his left. And then there's Negan, who is, I guess, to his right. So yeah, really cool. And if you just kind of look at their demeanor here overall, obviously Bruegel is definitely like the leader here, right? Like he's right in the middle here. And that's the one thing about his character. Like, I don't know if the character really believes that he's like, I don't know, just because of the way that he's sitting at the table here. Like if he's the leader, he believes in something that means that, everyone has to follow him. And if a lot of people really will follow him, because if you look at Negan, like it's very interesting because of why the Dama wanted him to, I guess be the next like leader, or to sort of, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if Bruegel is separate from the Dama. And that's what I'm trying to figure out right now is, that whole entire group separate from Bruegel and what's happening here. It's possible that, both groups maybe are just having like a dinner here or whatever. And so you have Negan sitting here, the Croat on the other side, and it's just some sort of dinner that they're all having here. And obviously they're at Bruegel's place here overall. So maybe that's why he's just sort of, he'll give a toast to everybody in the room. He'll make a speech and everything. And I'm questioning, I guess, how everything is going to work here, because if he is the real leader and say the Dama isn't the leader at all, then I guess that would make Negan more of the enforcer, I'm guessing, right? But I don't know if that's the dynamic between these characters here, because Croat's there. There are two other characters, and I don't know if they really have any sort of, that's the thing. Like, I'm thinking that they're not main characters, but they're here at the table. So they're obviously going to be like bigger characters, this season. And that's what I'm so thankful about. Like, honestly, for me, I know that was a big complaint. You guys heard me complain about it a lot in 2024, which is the 6-episode thing. And it's because whenever you have newer characters, like, you want to focus, time on exploring who they are and everything. And having these two newer characters, like if this season was only going to be 6 episodes and it was going to wrap, like, honestly, I'd be so disappointed in that. It would really feel like, okay, this is going to be really amazing, but the story's going to feel so rushed that we're not going to be able to really get into anything. But the fact that Dead City is 8 episodes is so incredible. Honestly, so amazing. I'm so excited to see how that's going to play out, because the story is going to feel really incredible. Like the second we get to episode 4, we're only halfway through the season. There's still going to be 4 more episodes that are going to be like close to an hour long with a bunch more story, right? Like there's going to be so much time to just like breathe and live in this world. And I'm just excited about that, because I think Bruegel is a character that you need that with, because you do want to explore a lot more of who this character is, because I've just been hearing a lot of really amazing things. Like Kim Coates is absolutely incredible. And the character he plays is just absolutely like, he could be one of the best villains in a very long time for The Walking Dead. I'm not going to say that he's going to be, because obviously we've seen nothing yet, but like I could see how he has the potential for sure, because you look at recent villains like Madame Genet, I thought she was a great villain. I think that Pouvoir as a whole just wasn't handled the best in season 2. But I still think she was a great villain. Just, I don't know if she was one of the best villains, but like she's up there, I would say, for sure. Major General Beale, I feel like he should have been one of the best villains, but he just wasn't handled the best at all. Like, even all the scenes he had, some of them were really cool, but he just never really felt as menacing as he could have been, right? And then you go to, the Croat and the Dama, and I don't think they're like the craziest villains at all. So I think that, yeah, you look at The Walking Dead and you have Pamela Milton. I think she was just a decent villain. Alpha and Beta were amazing villains. And then before that, it was Negan, who obviously was a really amazing villain. And just, you can keep going on and on to every single villain. But I think that Bruegel has a chance to being one of the best villains that we've seen in a very, very long time. And so, depending on the scenes, depending on the acting, and depending on like really insane moments, like if he is a character that just goes absolutely crazy sometimes, because I know that that's something that they were sort of saying, is that like he's so nice and everything, but when they're filming things, he would just go absolutely insane and everything. And I'm wondering if he's going to be that type of character where he's just going to be a really amazing character, a really scary, terrifying villain that we're going to look back and compare him to previous villains and be like, wow, he's really up there. So I think that's what Dead City has going for it. And honestly, if he's a really amazing villain, this show is going to get a billion times better, because I think The Ones Who Live, that's the one thing that it really had going for it, was that the CRM were actually pretty terrifying throughout the season. Obviously, later on, it's different, but Daryl Dixon season 2, the villains weren't really necessarily that terrifying. The scariest part about it was, I would say, the variant walkers, but they barely used them. And so I'm really excited about Bruegel. Honestly, I think Bruegel could be a really incredible character. I really cannot wait to see, I guess, where this goes here. And like, is Negan working for him? Is he there because of, well, no, I guess he couldn't be, because unless he actually is the real leader, if he is a part of something separate, then he's most likely not working for him, because the Croat's there, right? So it's probably a dinner where everyone's coming to meet about something, and we'll have to wait and see, I guess, how this goes, because again, this seems like a meeting of like many communities within New York City, and Bruegel might be like the major leader here, or maybe it's because they're meeting, I guess in his building or wherever they're at, his community. And so that's why he's sitting here and, he's going to give a speech and all of that. I could honestly see a story this season where maybe the Dama tells Negan, like, you got to take down Bruegel. And so, you're looking at a shot like this where you see them having dinner together and all that, or there's like this whole thing going on. I wonder if that's what he's thinking about, like, oh, I'm going to have to take him down kind of thing. And I just wonder how all of that plays a role into, New Babylon and what's going on with Maggie and the Marshal and all of that, because New Babylon wants to take over New York City as well. So I think that's why this season there's going to be a lot of crazy conflict, a lot of stuff happening that's going to really build up to like this war or battle that I don't know if it's going to be happening this season. That might be something for season 3. So we'll have to wait and see. I really can't wait. And that's one thing too, the dynamic between like Maggie, Negan, Bruegel, the Dama, etc. There's so many characters. Like Herschel's going to be a bigger character this season. And also they've been kind of saying that he's going to have a darker story, right? So this season is going to go in crazier directions. I do think that the show is going to get a lot better, because they were saying that it's going to feel like kind of a reset. I think they're going to stick with what worked in season 1, and a lot of what didn't work, they're not going to focus on that. Honestly, for me, I like Dead City season 1. I know not a lot of people did, but I think that story, it was meant to be a little bit more simple. It was a small story of Maggie trying to find Herschel, and that really was, I guess, how simple it was. Like, the Croat was the villain. It was just sort of an introduction, I feel like, to what Dead City could be. And so I think Dead City season 2 is going to expand on this so much, and I'm excited. I really can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait to see Maggie and Negan back together, and I wonder if they're going to be on the same side, or like what all that's going to mean, In terms of what Jeffrey Dean Morgan had to say, because I actually did see a quote from him recently, which is actually pretty exciting. I saw this here from GameRant.com, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan had this to say about, I guess, being Negan again in season 2 and having the bat. And so he says, well, I freaked out. I didn't realize how much I missed her, not only as Negan, but as myself. Just getting to hold the bat again adds something to that character, that the swagger and the confidence and the humor that Negan has, I think it's been sorely missed. The second that she's back in Negan's hands, he is empowered in some way that he hasn't been in the last few years. It was a cool thing having her back. And I do agree with that. I think that is something that, in terms of that character, having Lucille really made him way more interesting. I mean, first of all, he's just really cool. Like that's a whole other thing to the character. When he has Lucille, he has the jacket, just that aspect to it. It's always so fun. It's always so entertaining. Like one of the best scenes that I've seen from the character in many, many years happened in season 1 of Dead City, where he made that joke about butter or whatever. Like, honestly, that was a really incredible scene. Like one of the best that we've seen from the character in like a very long time. And so since they're probably going to focus a lot more on that, because again, the response to that moment was amazing. Like everyone was like, oh, I want more of that from the character. So I think in season 2, we are going to be getting that. And I'm excited to see, the character, I guess, return to that. Like there's going to be differences, obviously. He's going to be doing it, but it might be one of those things where it's like he knows that he can do that and it'll help him survive, but like he's a changed person, so like there's things that he might do differently. And I think there's nothing really wrong with that, like everything that he's been doing so far in terms of the whole drama between him and Maggie and everything, I don't see being an issue with where they ended The Walking Dead, because I think a lot of people go through things like that. They'll apologize for this, they'll do this, and then time goes on, and I still think he's very, like, he feels sorry about everything, obviously. He's still there. Like, you saw a lot of that in season 1 of Dead City. It's just that, after you go through a bunch of stuff, like, sometimes, you end up sort of going back to old ways or whatever when you're trying to survive. And I think that's what happened to him. In those moments in New York City, that was one way that he was able to actually survive and keep everyone alive. And Maggie can be mad about that, but he did, and he kept everybody safe. And so I'm just so excited for this season. I really cannot wait. I'm expecting it to come out in April, so in like 3 months from now, but I do see a lot of people saying it's probably going to be like late March, just because of the fact that I think some other shows, like Interview with the Vampire, I guess, and like Dark Winds and all that, will probably be out at some point, like in the spring, summer time. And I know this is coming out spring, and once Mayfair Witches finishes airing, which is like, because it's going to be airing this Sunday, January 5th, and then I think it's going to finish at some point early March. I think at some point after that is when Dead City Season 2 is going to air. And so honestly, we're probably going to get a release date very soon. It could happen, probably like might be next week. It's the weekend now, so it's not going to happen now, but I could totally see them releasing a teaser trailer or something at some point in the next week here, announcing a release date. And then we're just doing the countdown for whenever the show comes out, which is most likely going to be late March or at some point in April here. I don't see them pushing it off until May, because they have so many shows, like AMC, they have so many shows airing around that time. And then there's The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 3 coming out in September, most likely. So they have a lot of shows here, and I expect a lot of them to air, because they usually air at the same time, like on Sundays, right? So yeah, I'm excited, but also you do have to take into consideration the fact that The Last of Us Season 2 is going to be airing at some point this spring. And so does The Walking Dead Dead City Season 2 want to compete with that? I don't think either show wants to compete with each other, because there's sort of no point. Like, both shows are going to lose if that does happen, right? Because you're always going to lose viewers. If you air them back to back, then everyone can watch both shows, right? So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. It looks like both shows right now are just saying spring, so they're going to air around the same time, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm going to leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.